Yesterday we started our unit on transformations. Who remembers what it means to transform? To change. So right here, put a transformation is a change. And remember yesterday I told you it's going to be on a coordinate plane. So we're looking at changes in a shape on a coordinate plane. We learned the 4 types of transformations yesterday, which were translations, reflections, rotations, and dilations. Today we are going to focus on which one? Translations. So we're only focusing on that one today. Okay, a translation, who remembers the common word for it? A slide. It does not change the size, and it does not change the shape of the figure. What was the words we used to say that? They were like fancier words. Preserve. Congruence. Very good. It preserves. So right here, write that. It preserves congruence. That's the academic words that it will use on the STAR test. And it just means it keeps it the same. Same size, same shape. So, what are we going to learn more about translations? And this is what you're heavily tested on in that. Y'all remember y'all took that benchmark yesterday? Y'all remember seeing this kind of stuff? Okay? It is going to test you on the rules of transformations. And I promise you it is not hard. It's just a lot of memorization. Okay? So, yesterday we learned that you're going to have 2 images. How do you know which one is the old and which one is the new? This is super important. Which one gets the little prime mark? The new. So everybody put, this is the new, this is the old. And it is super important that you know that because you have to figure out how it got from the old to the new. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, y'all all know that a coordinate is written like this. Yes? A coordinate is just a point on a graph where the point meets these 2 numbers. So what you're going to learn today is how did they get from this M to this M? And that's going to be the rule that we write down. Okay? How did they get from this M to this M? So this M has an X value of, it looks like -2, 2. Yes? You'll see right here, this is -2, and then that's 2. And then this M has an X value of 3, 4. Do y'all see that or no? So everybody write this down. This M has a value of -2, 2. And the new M has a value of what? 3, 4. So what we're looking at is how did they get from this point to this point? And it is super, super easy. For translations, all you have to do is count. Okay, especially if they give you a graph. All you're going to do is count. You're going to count how far to the right did they move it, and then how far up did they move it. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay, now let's talk about this rule. The rule says that you're going to take your X and your Y, and you're going to add something to the X or subtract, and add something to the Y or subtract. It is not going to make the shape bigger or smaller by adding. When you add on a coordinate plane, it actually slides the coordinate over. When you subtract on a coordinate plane, it slides it to the left. When you add, you slide it to the right. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay, so right here is where I wrote some important information for you. It says the X change, so everybody, which axis is X? This one? Yes? So which way am I going? I'm going from left to right. So the X-axis moves right or left. Right is positive. Left is negative. Now which axis moves up and down? The Y-axis moves up and down. So the Y changes up or down. Up is positive, down is negative. So this one would be from here, and it's going to have the lines like this because it's kind of hard to see on this one. So this one moved from here. Let me move my lines up because this graph did not print good. So it moved right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do y'all all agree? So I would write it moved right 5, and then where did it go? Up. Here to here. So then it went up 1, 2. And I promise counting it on a coordinate plane, your coordinate plane is going to look like this. Is so much easier to count. This one was missing all the grids. And all you're going to do is plug these numbers into right there. So, right, which axis goes right and left? Which axis goes right and left?
X.
The x-axis. So this 5 is going to go right here with the x. Does that make sense? And then which axis goes up and down?
Y.
So that 2 would go right here. And since they're right is positive, so it would be plus 5, and up is positive, so it would be plus 2. So we're actually going to do some examples, and you will understand it at the end, okay? All right, here we go. Number 1 right here. Actually, let's start with this one. Everybody ready? We're not even going to have to count. They're going to give us the stuff. It says triangle ABC is, and here's your clue word. What does it say? That means it slides across. How many units to the right?
3.
Okay, so I want you to write that right here. 3 right. Everybody write it down. What else am I going to write? 6 down. It says, write a translation rule that represents this. Your rule is going to look like this. And you are going to plug this 3 and this 6 in for these spots. It's that simple. So we're going to take this and we're going to write it down. X, comma, Y, and an arrow. All I'm doing is writing this. Now I'm going to put X, and I have to decide if it's going to be a plus sign or a minus sign. I need everybody's attention. Okay, which one of these is going to go with the X? Which axis runs? So guys, think about the x-axis. Which axis, how does the x-axis move? Left to right. So this one goes with the X. Now I have to decide, do I put a plus or a minus? If you don't know, you go up here. It says right is plus, left is minus. So since it's right, I put plus 3. And then put a comma, because that's what it says. Now the next one is going to be Y. Where does the y-axis run? Up in? So that's why this one is going to go with the Y. And down is minus. So minus 6. And you're done. That's the rule. That's it. There's no math involved. All you have to do is write these down, put the X with the right or left, put the Y with the up or down, and then you just fill it in. Make sense? All right, let's go do this one. Now this one we have to count. It says, write a rule to describe the translation from ABCD to the new ABCD. Now this one is super important that you figure out the old and the new. So everybody, which one is the new shape? So label it new. That means we have to start our pencil on the old shape. And for those of you who were absent yesterday, the new shape has the little slashes. They're called prime marks. Okay? So I need to know, how did they get from this shape to this shape? So all you have to do is count. Now, if you're going to pick point A, you have to go from A to A. If you're going to pick B, you have to go from B to B. And it doesn't matter which one you pick. You just have to pick the same for both. I'm going to use point C to point C. Put a dot on them. Do y'all understand? You have to use the same point on each shape. Okay? Now, which one am I starting with? Old. And I'm going to count. How far did they go to get from this C to this C? Well, which way did they go? Right or left? Right. So if I go right 1, am I now with this C? So I'm going to write that down. Right 1. Now where did they go? Up. Now we got to go count. From here all the way up to the new C is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So up 8. Now stop real quick and write which one of these belongs to the X and which one belongs to the Y. So which axis moves right and left? Which axis? X. Okay. Which axis moves up and down? The Y. And now I'm just going to write my rule looking like this. So I say, take your X and your Y, put your arrow, because that's what the rule says. I don't see everybody writing. Now, X and 1 are going to go together, but do I need a plus or a minus for right? Plus. So X plus 1, comma. Y is going to go with 8, but I need a plus or a minus. So is up plus or minus? So Y up is what? Plus. And then I'm done. That's my answer. What do y'all think? Not too bad? All right, flip to the back. I want you guys to try this one on your own. All you have to do is write down what they said and then write your rule. Everybody should be reading and writing right now. Okay, the first thing you should have done is just wrote this down. 4 left, 3 up. That's the first thing you should have done. The next thing you should have done is identified which one goes with the X and which one goes with the Y. So you ask yourself, which axis goes left to right? X. Which axis goes up and down? Y. Now you write your rule. So you take your X and your Y, put an arrow, and you're going to write X plus 4 or X minus 4. You have to decide based on that word. Minus. Left is minus. So X minus 4, comma. Y is going to be either plus 3 or minus 3. This word tells you what to do. Plus. Y plus 3. And then you're done. Okay, have y'all done this one yet? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do it if you haven't. Okay, you should have at least written this and then said which axis goes right to left, X, which axis goes up and down, Y. So you take your X and your Y and you say X plus 7 or X minus 7. This word tells you right is plus. So X plus 7, and then 4 down. So y plus 4 or y minus 4? Down is minus. Okay, now look at the bottom part. I gave you some answers to your assignment right here in this paragraph. It says, when you translate a figure, everything stays that's super important. The side links stay the angles stay this means the original shape is congruent, because congruent means the exact same to the original shape. Okay, there's going to be questions that ask you about the side links. They stay the same. They're going to ask you about the angles. They stay the same. They're going to use words like congruent, and that's what you're looking for. Okay? All right, your assignment's going to be found in the Google Classroom, and then you'll get your answers checked with me.